Okay, we're recording. Yay! Happy
So
Tuesday.
we're gonna get started. Sorry, I'm like taking over already. I'll let you
No,
start.
I like it. Go. I'm gonna mute.
Okay. So Candace asked me to speak tonight. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm a little nervous just because it's been a long time since I've done a team call. But she really just asked me to talk about my story, and some of you guys know my story, some of you don't. If you're a brand new coach, congratulations. It's really exciting. If this is your first team call, welcome. But first, I just want you guys to know that when I do my team calls or just any kind of call in general, it's kind of, I don't have notes. I just go by how I'm feeling in the moment. So some things I might say that you might have never even heard of. So just bear with me. And I want you guys to just know that, like, this is me. I'm real. I'm not, like, going by any scripts or anything. I don't know, like, it's weird because at my regular job, I'm very, like, type A, by the book, like, everything is bullet point, like, I know exactly what I'm doing, but when it comes to coaching, I'm like, you know what, this is who I am, I love what I do, and I don't like to make it more complicated than it really is, because you can get wrapped up in your own mind, so I try to just go with the flow. So, I'm already sweating, but that's because it's so hot here in New England. All right, so I'll just tell you guys a little bit about my background, and then I'll get into the coaching part of it. So I'm 28 years old. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been one for about 4 years now. And I've always wanted to help people. And it's kind of been a difficult process to get to the point of where I'm at now, because at a young age, I wanted to become a nurse, but I was really told that I couldn't because I have a learning disability, and it's not really that bad of a learning disability, but I let a lot of my fears get a hold of me, and that put me back a lot. So I was always secluded in classrooms, so they would take me away, and as a child, that would really bring you down when you are with your peers, and then they take you out of a classroom to, you know, try to teach you something so basic. I like, it's really hard for me to explain because it all started when I was like, I don't know, 6 years old. So they would remove me from these classrooms, and it was mainly English. They said I wasn't a very good reader and I wasn't very good at comprehending, and I do admit I'm not a good reader and I'm not really good at comprehending. It takes me a long time for me to understand things, and I'm a very visual learner, so hands-on things is how I learn. If it's by the books, it's very hard for me, but it's funny because in nursing school I did exceptionally well. But so just to start off by just kind of telling you guys that at a young age I wanted to become a nurse. I was told that I couldn't because of my learning disability. It was going to be very difficult for me to be successful. I wouldn't be able to keep up with the fast-paced environment. And they just told me to basically choose a different profession. And this was when I was in high school. And I was really pissed off by that. And, you know, there's so many different stories that I can tell you guys about my life in general, but just to speak for a nursing perspective, when someone says no to me, I get really pissed off, and I will go balls to the wall and do what I have to do to get it done. And that's what I did with nursing. And I said to myself, and I say it all the time to my coaches, if you believe in something so strongly, any goal can be accomplished. Because I remember sitting on my living room floor, seeing that quote in a newspaper right before I was about to graduate, and that ended up being like one of my quotes in the yearbook. And I said, you know, if I can accomplish becoming a nurse, I can do absolutely anything. And I became a nurse. I did fail one semester and I got held back, but I kept going. And so aside from nursing, I will go back to the very beginning of my childhood. So growing up, I was the younger sister. I have an older sister who is 6 years older than me, and she's absolutely beautiful. And it's sometimes it's hard for me to talk about because I'm still trying to recover of like who I am and figure out who I am and all of that. But growing up, while I was going through the awkward stages of trying to like find out who I was, so like 6, 7, 8, 9, she was already like over those awkward stages, and she was getting all the attention, and she was getting all of the love and support from my parents. And you know, that really hurt me as a person. It's not like they didn't love me, they just it's very hard for me to explain. They did everything for both of us. We had plenty of money. There was not a problem. Like if we ever needed anything, they were able to support us. But they kind of, like when I was struggling with something, that's not my love language, and I just needed someone to love me. And my mom was the type of person that would, you know, cater to my sister and get her to be successful. And it was just really hard for me at a young age to go through all these different emotions of not feeling like I was good enough, or I was always trying to be perfect. And I thought everyone really judged me, and I was afraid of that. And I thought I had a lot of things to look up to from my sister, because I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but she models and acts for a living. So that was really difficult because she was always getting the attention. Everything was always about her. And it really was kind of like, okay, well, Brianna over here has a learning disability. We don't know if she's going to be a nurse or not. Like, and it sucked. And that hurt me all through high school, being secluded from the classrooms, and people would make fun of me and say that I was I was in what was it called? Like a sped class, like special ed. And they would like make fun of me. And I didn't really have that much of a problem of making friends. It was a matter of being friends with girls. I only had a couple, I think 2 girlfriends growing up, and that would be Megan and my good friend Amy. And those were the only 2 girls that I talked to. Everyone else was a guy. I just felt like I got along with them better, and I felt like females were very intimidating, and I was already intimidated by my sister. So like any other girl, I was like, like I can't be around them. So I have so much to say, and I don't even know where to begin. I know I'm all over the place, but like I've been through a lot of shit. But on top of like comparing myself to my sister and trying to live up to her expectations, I ended up developing an eating disorder at a young age. I remember when I was about 4 years old, my grandfather made a comment to me about me being chubby. As stupid as that is, it was something to do with like my arm. And I remember like eating like pretzels or something at the kitchen table, and he made a joke about it, and I didn't like that. And that was like a moment for me where I really struggled with, okay, being 4 years old, why am I hurt by someone saying something like that? And I remember kind of like not thinking about it again for a while until I got older, and I developed an eating disorder. And it's not your typical eating disorder where, you know, you are 70 pounds and you go to a hospital. I consider anything an eating disorder if you think about food constantly, whether you make yourself sick or not, if you are constantly working out, I consider that to be a mental type of disorder that if you constantly can think of food, exercising, and looking at yourself in the mirror and picking yourself apart, I consider that a mental eating disorder. My type of eating disorder was I picked myself apart from the inside out. I would stand in front of my mirror for hours and I would flex to the point that was my workout. I would flex and like pull my fat apart. I would take photos, different angles. I used to try all these different pills. I used to try cutting my calories. At one point, I was making myself throw up, and it was more than once a day. There were times when I would just not eat, and I remember doing that a lot in high school, where when it came to the weekend, I would purposely not eat so that I would go out and party and get more shit-faced. So it was just an easier way for me to cope and be around my friends and feel accepted. And that went on for a while. And when I went into nursing school, things didn't get terribly wrong, but I was definitely at my lowest weight. I wasn't making myself sick as much, but I knew all along since I was very young that I had a problem, and I did see counseling for it. But I couldn't get the help. Like I didn't like the therapists. I didn't like how they would look at you and just judge you and like ask you all these stupid questions and make you feel more guilty. Like every time I would leave therapy, I was always angry, and that's not how therapy should be. And I had no way of coping, and I told myself right when I finished nursing school, I was gonna change my life around, and I was gonna become happier, and not just like the bullshit of, okay, I'm gonna change and I'm gonna like get better, like I'm really gonna do it. I said, no, I'm going to do it, whether it's seeing treatment, being like sent away, or whatever. I had no idea what to do, but for like when Beachbody first came out, I remember people telling me, oh, you should try Shakeology and all this, and I was like, no, like I'm all set. Like I'm not really into fitness, even though I acted like I loved fitness. I was like not. I hated working out. Like there were days though that I would go to the gym and it was like 4 hours. So, I mean, so let me think. Okay, so I'm trying to think in chronological order here for you guys, but just bear with me. So you guys are probably wondering how I met Candace, and I met her because it was out of fate. I met her because I was a compulsive shopper, and I loved shopping. It was my way to escape from everything, and I would just buy random shit. And I found her on Poshmark, and she had an Instagram, and so I started following her, and I followed her prior to her even doing Beachbody, and I just remember her being like this cool chick, but she was like so cool that I was like, I don't know if I like her. Like it was like one of those, like, I don't know, like there's something about her, I don't like her, but I do like her because I was like, that's me. And then I started watching her get into fitness, and I was like, whoa, she's pretty cool, but I kind of want to delete her, but I don't. And so I watched her, and I think it was, what was it, a year, 6 months or a year? No, I don't know how long you were doing it for, but I remember it was December, and you did Insanity for the first time, and I saw your results, and I remember just being like, okay, we had the same body before, and now look at her. And I just remember being like, I have to do it. Okay, so now getting into the whole Beachbody thing, you guys kind of know my background a little bit. It's kind of all over the place, but no one's perfect. No one has a good story. I mean, everyone has a good story. Sorry. Everyone has a good story. It's just, it's mumbo jumbo. You have to fit the pieces together. So February of 15, I decided to join Beachbody after years of people asking me to do it. I joined with the challenge pack, and I remember being scared shitless because I was going from someone who didn't really eat that much to someone that had to eat a lot of containers. And I remember being scared, like, out of my mind because I didn't want to pay 106. I think it was 170 at that point, 170, 180. And I remember being like, oh my God, all the shit that I have invested before in my life with fitness, this better work. And so I did the 21-day fix, and I did everything by the book. My first round, I remember being pretty disappointed, I'm not gonna lie, because I went up like 4 pounds, and I didn't understand that because I was I was weighing myself multiple times a day prior to Beachbody, and I knew that was unhealthy, but in my mind for my whole life I was like, okay, you look better when you weigh less. And so that was really hard for me, but I trusted Candace, and she told me to trust the process. So I did, and I did it for a couple more months. And in April of 2015, so a few months later, I decided to sign up as a coach because I'm cheap and I really like to shop, and I like deals, and I like coupons. So I wanted to save money on Shakeology, and I really liked Shakeology. Like, you guys, when I first tried it when they came out, my friend gave me a sample, and I was like, this is disgusting. So they've come a long way, okay? So, and I kept that little sample bag thinking I was going to have it years down the road. I'm not even kidding you. I had it for 4 years, and I was like, I can't do it. So I fell in love with Shakeology back in February. So I was like, all right, I have to find a way to either get a discount on this, sign up as a coach, get the 25% off. If I help a couple of people, great. I wasn't really planning on, coaching. I wasn't planning on posting before and after photos. I was not prepared to be doing this right now. And that's what's crazy, because I signed up as a coach and Candace told me to do these trainings, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I really want to coach. Like, I don't know what it is. And so I did it, and I got to Emerald like maybe a month after. And then I remember Colleen reaching out to me and telling me she wanted me to go to the retreat in January. And this was not even a year into coaching. And I remember being like, oh God, oh my God. Like, I had no idea, and the amount of potential that they saw in me and believing in me as a coach really lit my fire. And this is where I'm at today, but it's just crazy because I used to be a person that was I was very shy in high school, but when I was younger, I was very outgoing. But I don't know what happened in between, but for some reason in high school, I just went down like that, and I was became very shy and depressed and just not happy with who I was. That I honestly, I can't even believe that I'm on a call right now with you guys all talking to you, because I'm not a public speaker. I don't consider myself someone that likes to talk. Like, I'm an introvert. I like to be a hermit and be at home. So, and then what else should I say? I don't know.
Tell us about
Do you
that.
have anything to add?
Remember that first video I asked you to post?
Oh, like you mean, was that before I was a coach or after?
No, it was like right in the beginning, and it was like I think like a 10-second clip.
Yes. Okay, so one of the first things that Candace told me to do, and I thought she was joking, she told me to make a video, like, and put it on my Facebook, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I remember she gave me these pair of pink pants. I still have them. And I remember I was wearing the pink pants and I had my black top on, and it was like not a sports bra, it was like a t-shirt. And I just did like mountain climbers, like a 10-second. I didn't even add like sound to it. I didn't want anyone to hear me breathe. I didn't like, you guys, like I was terrified to speak on social media. Like I didn't want people to see me talk. I didn't want them to see me working out. I was like terrified. And when she told me to do that, do you know how relieved I felt? Even though there was no sound, like I just felt so much better. So if you guys have never done, if you guys are brand new on here, if you've never done a video, do one. I don't care if it's 10 seconds long and there's no sound. If you're working out, if you're, I don't even know, walking by the camera, just do it. But yeah, I think, so I started coaching in April. I rank advanced to Emerald in first week of July, and then I was Diamond by the time I got back from the team retreat. And I don't really know how that happened. It just happened. And the main thing that I've been trying to do since I've been coaching is to not get overwhelmed because it's so easy to get wrapped up in coaching. And I'm the type of person that, like, when I'm in my coaching mode, like I don't want to stop. And Dan will be talking to me and I won't even hear him. It will go over my head. So I don't even know where I'm going with that, but there's so much that I could say.
Thank you.
Oh, but just so you guys know, I don't know if I said it or not, I have not fully recovered. And that's something I haven't really talked to many people about. I have had a couple of relapses this year of making myself sick, and that's something that I'm honestly very ashamed of. But it's something that I'm still trying to work on, and I have with my success partner, she has told me to go to therapy, so I've been doing that. I haven't gone in a while, but I went back to this one person and I've been working on myself. And when I start to feel like I'm spiraling out of control, I have to take a step back from coaching, and I have to really like evaluate myself and evaluate like how I'm feeling in the moment. And I really have to just, remember to breathe and tell myself that it's okay to have these feelings. It's going to go away. So it's not like I'm perfect. No one here is perfect, but the whole purpose of coaching, for me at least, was to find happiness, and I'm on my way to find happiness. And I'm, not just happiness with myself, but like helping other people make themselves feel better, because I know how it feels to, not feel good about yourself, or, when you want to drink and make yourself feel like better. I've had thoughts of suicide. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that, but it is scary for me to talk about because not a lot of people know that, and it's just hard. But if you guys ever feel like you are struggling with anything, like, the number one thing that you can do is to speak up to anyone on the team. because you guys, we are all human beings. We are all here together. Just because I have a different background than you guys and like a different job, a different, like we're in a different state. You might not agree with my coaching methods or who I am as a person, but you all have to remember that we're all the same and we all have the same feelings. And if you ever feel like you're alone, you're really not. We're all here together. It doesn't matter. So.
That felt like a really big hug.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, like there's so many times, like I've had coaches like that shy away from me and they don't really want to tell me things, and it's like I don't want them to feel like they can't talk to me because I'm no different than them, and I'm still the same person. I still have, you know, a heart. Just because I've been coaching for 2 years and they might not have been coaching as long as me doesn't mean that I'm any better, and that, you know, I don't know, like I just like I feel people's pain, and like when people tell me things, like I just like want to help them, but I don't know how to help them, and it's I don't know how to explain it, but you guys just know that the whole purpose of the team calls is to get together and like understand each other, and we're all here together.
We're all like, oh. You're so sweet. You have one of the biggest hearts out of anyone I know. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. Does anyone have anything they want to add, or if you think of anything, Bri? I'm having a deer in the headlights moment, but I really seriously appreciate you taking the time to open up to us, because I know it hasn't been as easy for you, and you've come a long, 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 long ways. You know, like you've always been awesome, but you know, like watching you grow and bloom and, you know, take on different challenges and step up and speak, and just like when you talk about stuff like that, I know we're all at different points in our journey, but we can all relate, because like we're all doing something we never would have saw ourselves doing, you know, even just yesterday, because we're all constantly taking on new challenges and new opportunities for growth. Sarah says you're such a sweetheart, and you've never met, but she can tell you're an awesome person.
Thanks.
Everybody's sending you love.
But
sorry, go ahead. What? I said the comments don't go on the recording. That's why I read them sometimes.
Okay.
Crystal wants to know how you juggle your full-time job and Beachbody.
That's a good question. Well, first of all, I only work 2 days a week as a nurse because I chose to do 12-hour shifts. So I do 2 12-hour shifts back to back, and I do that even though it's brutal. I do it for a reason, because I like to get it out of the way and I never want to go there again. I want to have as much time as possible off. So my boss is very good about doing back to back for me, even though she thinks I'm insane. But so I only work 32 hours at the hospital, and so I work every other weekend, 8-hour shifts. That's a good thing too. I don't know how I work that out, but I do 8 hours on the weekends and 2 12-hours back to back. So basically, when I do my 12-hour shifts, I will be honest, it's very hard for me to post. I've tried the method of really scheduling my posts, but I don't personally like to schedule posts just because I don't feel like it's in the moment. And I used to do posts where they were like food posts, but I just feel like if I'm at work and people are on their phone, they're like, why is she posting a photo of her outside and she's not really not, like, you know what I mean? And I like to be in the moment of when I post. Sometimes they're not, I'll use like a completely different photo, but basically if I am working, I will post first thing in the morning, and then at night I will post like my workout, and I will make it clear that after a 12-hour shift I still get my workout in, and that usually hits like the fan with people, and they're like, oh my god, you're crazy. So I just try to make it work, and I do my beach body in the bathroom. I do it on my breaks. I do it if I'm walking to do an errand, like to the lab. Like, I will be on my phone. I don't even care. I won't do it if I'm like passing meds or anything like that, because I will get like fired. But I do when it's appropriate. And then on my off days, it's fair game. I get to do whatever I want. Wake up when I want, work when I want. I mean, that's it. I try not to make it overly complicated. I try to, I do a lot of my adding at night, just because a lot of other people are on their phone and they're going to accept friend requests. So that's usually when I send out my invites. I do a lot of my messages on my lunch breaks or when I get home or first thing in the morning. So does that answer anyone's question?
Yeah. When I worked, I did the exact same thing. When I had to work 40-hour work weeks, I was on my phone, like at work when it was appropriate, obviously. And then April also says, how is your relationship now with your parents? Has it gotten better now that you've grown and are working on you?
It's good. My relationship with my family is good. I wouldn't say it's better, but I think they definitely respect me more. They're more curious about what I'm doing, and your mom always likes everything, right? So I can never tell if they read my stuff. And my dad, I don't know if he's really on Facebook that much, but like when he is, it's usually at night, and it's like every couple of weeks he'll like a couple of things, and then when I do see him, he'll say like, oh, I'm very proud of you and stuff like that. But I mean, they're supportive in it. I mean, they say that they're proud of me.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't lie.
You know what? I don't really care, because I've already gotten over the point of like if they want to accept it or not, because I'm done trying to please them. Like, I will be straight up honest. I have had a boob job, and the only reason why I'm saying this to you guys is because my mother was very, very angry with me. She did not want to speak to me when I wanted to make that decision to get it done. She wanted nothing to do with me. Anytime I wanted to talk to her about it, she was like not having it. She doesn't want like our people in our family to know. She doesn't want it was basically she didn't want people to think of her daughter as being like a porn star, blah blah blah. So she was very angry about that. My father was probably the most supportive, which is kind of weird, but he was supportive in the sense of you know yourself well enough. If you feel like it's going to make you feel like a better person, then he was okay with that. And I don't know why I told you guys that, but that just shows like kind of like the dynamic of my family. Like, my mom is very like by the book, and my dad is very like, he's like me, like he has a heart, like it's there, but my family's not good about like sharing. Like, they don't hug us, they don't say they love us and all that, and just so I mean the whole dynamic is kind of odd, but they're very loving people.
I love hearing you talk and share your story. I feel like you're really good at speaking, even though you say like public speaking is not your thing. When you talk, you have like a comfort. It's just comforting. You make me feel like warm and fuzzy.
Aw, good.
Haley agrees.
Thank you.
Well, tell us more stories.
I don't know.
Now we have like 2 minutes.
I'm like sweating.
I know, I'm sweating too. I don't know why. I just get excited on these calls. Like, I'm not even speaking and I'm sweating. We just like to see everybody. Or we'll just run the clock out staring at each other. Erin has a question. She says, oh, she wanted to ask you about what you just confessed about the boob job. That's funny. She said she wanted to ask you for like 8 months.
Oh my God. Yes, I've actually had 2. Because I didn't like the first kind that I had. And I didn't tell my mother about the second one.
She doesn't need to know. Won't hurt her.
But not like you guys need to know, and this is not really appropriate for the team call. But
no, I love where the call
went. That's family dynamic, so.
Ending it on boobs. Which seems to be a hot topic of the month. Right, Audrey? She's out there laughing. I can see her. Amy said, thank you so much for sharing. It's nice to hear from people who are years into it compared to her who is just starting.
Oh my God, don't like compare yourself though to me or to anyone. Like I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know.
I get it. We're all the same. We're just at different
We're all
points
the same. Like, I'm no different than anyone.
I always told Haley that whenever we first started working together. I'm like, we are literally the same. I've just been doing it a little bit longer, but we're the same.
Right.
But we have less than a minute, so I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to show up and support.
Thanks, guys.
Be here. It means a lot, and I love everybody. And thank you so much, Bri, for sharing your heart and being so just real and honest and open with us and trusting us with that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye. Nice to see everybody. Good night. Happy Tuesday.